Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another week of maths lessons. Now, let's get straight on with things and let's see what it is that you are going to need for today's lesson. So today, you are going to need a dry white pen, a pencil and paper, and you're going to need some things to count. I've suggested about 30 of them. I'm using pebbles today. You could use pebbles, you could use buttons, pasta, Lego bricks. You just need to get 30 things to count. So pause the video here. This should take you no more than 2 minutes to go and collect those things, and then come back when you're ready. See you in a moment. Okay, let's get straight on with warming up our maths brains. We're going to begin by thinking back to what we were learning last week. If you remember, last week we were learning our 2, our 10 and our 5 times multiplication facts. So our challenge to get your brains working is to see how many facts can you solve, can you answer within 1 minute. You might choose to do our canoeing chap, our 2 times table facts. You might decide to do the boat task, which is the 10 times table, or the submarine task, which is the 5 times table. Choose which one you want to do. See how many you can answer within 1 minute. Okay, are you ready? Your time starts now. Off you go. Okay, we're halfway through our time. Keep going. Ten seconds left. And that's it. Time's up. I'm sure you've done amazingly at home. Let's have a little look at the answers so you can mark these to check how you got on. Let's look at the 2 times table first. So to begin with, 3 times 2 is 6, 5 times 2 is 10, 10 lots of 2 is 20, 3 2s are 6, 1 times 2 is 2, and 0 times 2 is 0. On to the 10 times facts. 4 times 10 is 40, 1 times 10 is 10, 7 multiplied by 10 is 70, 8 tens are 80, 11 lots of 10 is 110, and 0 times 10 is 0. On to the 5 times table fact. 3 5s are 15, 6 times 5 is 30, 9 multiplied by 5 is 45, 12 lots of 5 is 60, 0 times 5 is 0, and 7 times 5 is 35. Well done with that warm-up task. I'm sure your brains are now ready to do some super maths. And this is what we're going to do today. How do brilliant mathematicians share into equal groups? Now, before we begin, let's have a little think about that word equal. Have a little think. What does equal mean? Can you shout out? What does equal mean? Equal means the same. So we're talking about groups which are the same. They have the same number in them. So let's have a little look at equal groups. I've got 4 pictures here of some plates with different fruit on, and I want to know which of these pictures shows equal groups. Have a little think. Can you spot which ones are equal groups? Let's go through them one at a time. So first of all, our yellow picture with our apples. We've got 3 plates there, and those apples are arranged nice and neatly, but they haven't got the same on each plate. We've got a plate of 3, a plate of 2, and a plate of 3. So those apples are not in equal groups. Let's look at the strawberries. The strawberries are not arranged quite as neatly as the apples, but on every one of those 3 plates, there are 4 strawberries. So they've got the same. Those are equal groups. On to our bananas. Well, somebody's arranged those bananas very neatly on the plates. We've got 4 plates in this picture, but each of those plates, well, we've got a plate with 2, one plate with 3, another plate with 3, and another plate with 2 bananas. Those are not equal. They're not all the same. They're not equal groups. Onto our pairs. On every one of those plates, we've got 2 pairs. You could say we've got a pair of pairs, because a pair is a way of saying 2. And because we've got 3 plates, each with 2 pairs on, they are the same. They are equal groups. So that's another lot of equal groups. Well done if you spotted them. Now, here's my friend Poppy, and Poppy has got a question for us to get us going today. Her question is, she's got 10 apples and she shares them into 2 equal groups. I want to know what that looks like. Now, I haven't got 10 apples. I don't imagine you've got 10 apples at home. So instead of apples, I'm going to use something else. I am going to use some pebbles. So can you make sure you've got your objects to count to hand? Now, because Poppy has got 10 apples, I'm going to count out 10 pebbles. I'm going to pretend my pebbles are apples. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And I'm just going to move the other pebbles out the way. Now, pause the video here. Could you please count out 10 of your items at home? Okay, let's have a look at the next part of our question. So we've got our 10 apples, our 10 pebbles, and now it says Poppy shares them into 2 equal groups. Okay, so I'm going to move my pebbles into 2 groups, one group over here and another one over there. I'm going to share one over here and one over there, one over here, one over there, one over here, one for you, one for you, and one for you. Could you please pause the video and could you sort your 10 objects into 2 equal groups now? Okay, let's just check those 2 groups. So here's my first group. Let's count how many pebbles we've got in that group. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got 5 pebbles in that group. And in this group, I have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we've got the same in both groups. We've got equal groups. Have you got equal groups at home? I do hope so. Hopefully you've got 5 in each group. Now let's just have a little think about what we've done. We started with 10 apples. We shared them into 2 equal groups and we've ended up with 5 in each group. A posh word for sharing is divide. We've divided them into 2 equal groups, and we've actually got a special way of writing divide down, which I'm just about to show you. We've got a sign there which you may have seen before called our divide sign, and oops, just going to stop sharing my screen a second. Here we go. This is what a divide sign looks like. We've got a line like that, then we've got the dot, and then we've got a dot there. So I can make my divide sign by going line, dot, dot. So divide. Can you make that divide sign at home as well? Let's do it together. Line, dot, dot, divide, and again. So that's what our divide sign looks like. Just like that. Sometimes we call it, well, mostly we call it divide sign, but we use it to work out problems where we have to share. So let's go back to Poppy's problem. So let's write down what we've done. Now, we started with our 10 apples, and then we shared them into 2 equal groups. We divided them into 2 groups. So here's my divide sign, which is my line, and a dot, and we've divided them. We've shared them into 2 groups. We've done 10 shared into 2 groups, or 10 divided by 2. And how many did we have in each group? We ended up with 5. So that is my number sentence to show what we have done. Do you think you could write that down at home as well? 10 divided by 2 equals 5. 10 shared into 2 groups makes 5. Okay, let's go on to another problem. Here we go. So This time, Poppy, oh, lucky Poppy, she's got sweets this time. She's got Haribo. I wish I had some Haribo. I haven't. So I'm going to have to use my pebbles again in just a moment. So she's got 12 sweets this time, and she shares them into 2 equal groups. So let's have a little think. Can we work out what our number sentence is going to be this time? 12 divided into 2 groups. Do you think you could write that down at home? 12 divided by 2. 12 shared into 2 groups. Have a go at writing it down. I'll do it as well. Okay, there's my 12. Here's my divided by sign, like that. And then there's my 2 equal groups. So we need to find the answer to 12 divided by 2. Right. I'm going to need to count out 12 pebbles, and I'm going to pretend they are my sweets. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And I'm going to get rid of the rest of them. Could you please pause the video and count out 12 objects to count now? Okay, what are we going to do next then? Can you guess? We're now going to share them into 2 equal groups. Okay, here I go. 1 there. Oh, and over there. 1 for you. 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 1 for you, and 1 for you. I've got 2 equal groups. Pause the video and sort yours into 2 equal groups for me. Okay, let's check what we've got. I'm going to circle this group first of all, and I'm going to count how many pebbles I've got there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let me check my next group. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we've got equal groups. Oops, let me try that one again. 6. We've got 2 equal groups because they have both got 6 in. We've got 6 pebbles in that first group and 6 in the second. So the answer to 12 divided by 2 is 6. Oh, let me try that again. 6, there we go, that's better. So Poppy had 12 sweets. She shares them into 2 equal groups, and in each group there are 6 sweets. Now, I'm going to change this slightly because for this question, Poppy has still got her 12 sweets, but this time she's going to share them into 4 equal groups. So, do you think you can write down the number sentence that we are going to need to show what's going on in this question? Have a go at writing it down now. 12 shared into 4 groups. Okay, I'm going to do it too. So there's my 12 sweets. I am going to share them into 4 equal groups. That's what we need to find the answer to. Okay, so luckily in our last question, we had 12 things to count. So I shouldn't need to count them out again because we've still got 12. So can you make sure you've got your 12 things to count? Pause the video if you just need to sort that out. Okay, this time we're going to share them into 4 equal groups. Okay, here we go. So that's my first group, group number 2, group number 3, group number 4. 1 for you, 1 for you, 1 for you, and 1 for you. 1 for you, 1 for you, 1 for you, and 1 for you. Okay, pause the video here to sort your 12 objects into the 4 equal groups. Okay, let's check those groups. So here's my first group. In that group, I have got 1, 2, 3 pebbles. Here's my second group. In that group, I have got 1, 2, 3 pebbles. Here's my next group. I have got 1, 2, 3 pebbles. And in this group, I have got 1, 2, 3 pebbles. So I'm quite happy I've got equal groups because they've all got the same in them. I had 12 pebbles, I sorted them into 4 equal groups, and I ended up with 3 in each group. So the answer to 12 divided by 4 is 3. 12 shared into 4 groups is 3. Could you make sure you've got that number sentence written down at home as well? Okay, let's think what we've done so far. So with those 12 pebbles, we first of all put them into 2 equal groups, and we wrote our number sentence 12 divided by 2 equals 6, because when we split them into 2 equal groups, there were 6 in each group. And then we put those 12 into 4 equal groups. So we had 12 divided by 4, and we had 3 in each group. So we split up our 12 in different ways into different equal groups. I wonder, are there any other ways that we can put 12 into equal groups? Have a little think. Do you think you could do it? You could pause the video and have a little experiment if you want to. Okay, I think that we could share our 12 into 3 equal groups. I've still got my 12 pebbles, but look, this time I have got 1, 2, 3 equal groups, and in those groups each one has got 4 pebbles. 4 there, 4 there, 4 there. So that's another way that we can share 12 into equal groups. There's another way too. So here I could share my 12 into 6 equal groups. There we go, 3, 4, 5, 6. And you can see in each of those groups there are 2 pebbles. So we could also do 12 divided by 6 equals 2. So we have found so far 4 different ways to share 12 into equal groups. Which brings us on to today's challenges. So our first challenge is sharing into 2 equal groups. So you might want to try that one. You might want to try solving the problems by sharing into other equal groups, or you might want to try the challenge. How many ways can you find to share a number into equal groups? Let's talk those through one at a time. Okay, here's our first challenge. Our first question, you have got 5 to answer there, and the first one is 6 divided by 2, 10, then 10 divided by 2, 14 divided by 2, 8 divided by 2, and 20 divided by 2. Use your pebbles or your counting things to help solve those. And then there's a question to answer. Poppy has 16 sweets. She shares them equally with Sunny. So you've got Poppy and you've got Sunny. That's 2 people. There's a clue. So you're sharing your 16 sweets between 2 people. How many do each of them have? Okay, if you'd like to try those challenges, pause the video here and have a go at those. I think no more than 15 minutes should be plenty of time. Okay. On to our next challenge. Now here we are dividing into different equal groups. So we've got 8 divided by 4, 15 divided by 3, 20 divided by 5, 24 divided by 6, 30 divided by 10, and 30 divided by 3. And then we've got a couple of questions for you. We've got Poppy, Sunny and Wilf, and they've got 18 marbles, and they share them out. How many do they each get? So there's 3 people this time. They've got 18 and they're sharing between 3. And then the final question, Suki shares 16 grapes equally onto 4 plates. How many are on each plate? If you'd like to try these questions, and most of you should be able to answer this one, then pause the video here. And again, I think about 15 minutes will be plenty of time for this. And on to our final challenge, which hopefully some of you will want to do this one as well. And there's 2 parts to this. The first one, how many different ways can you find to share 24 into equal groups? So you need to count out 24 objects and then see how many different ways you can group them. And for each time you group them, write out your division number sentence. I think you should be able to find about, maybe 4 or 5 or 6 different ways of doing it. And then the other one, how many ways can you share 30 into equal groups? And again, write all the number sentences down. So again, I'm giving you about 15 minutes for this challenge. Good luck, everybody. Okay, I hope you got on really well with those challenges. We're just going to go through the answers now. So our first challenge, let's have a little look. So 6 divided by 2 was 3, 10 divided by 2 was 5, 14 divided by 2 was 7, 8 divided by 2 was 4, and 20 divided by 2 was 10. And on to Poppy's challenge, she had 16 sweets. She shared them with Sunny, so there were 2 of them. So our number sentence for this was 16 divided by 2. And if we share them into 2 equal groups, we would get 8 each. Well done if you got that one right. Okay, on to the next challenge. Let's have a look at this one. 8 divided by 4 is 2. 15 divided by 3 is 5. 20 divided by 5 is 4. 24 divided by 6 is 4. 30 divided by 10 is 3. And 30 divided by 3 is 10. Did you notice anything with those last 2 questions? If you were a super duper clever clogs, you might have thought, 30 divided by 10 is 3. And I can see that if I do 30 divided by 3, well, it's the same, but we're swapping our numbers round. 30 divided by 3 is 10. Maybe you spotted that. Well done if you did. So on to question 2. So Poppy and Sunny and Wilfred share their 18 marbles. How many do they each get? So 18 divided by 3 is 6. Well done if you got that one right. And then Suki with her grapes, 60 divided by 4 equals 4. Well done if you got that question correct. And on to our final challenge. Let's have a little look. Did you find some different ways of sharing 24 into equal groups? Well, there were 6 different ways that I came up with at first. 24 divided by 2, so we had 2 equal groups, which is 12 in each group. 24 divided by 3, which was 8 in each group, and 24 shared into 4 equal groups equals 6. Now, the next ones I came up with are, again, almost the opposite. So 24 divided by 12 is 2. 24 divided by 8 is 3. 24 divided by 6 is 4. Can you see they're the same numbers as our first set? But there are 2 more. The other 2 is 24 shared into 1 equal group. If you've only got 1 equal group, then they're all in it, and that's 24. Or I could share into 24 equal groups, and there would be 1 in each group. So there were actually 8 different ways there. And on to 30. 30 divided by 2 equals 15. 30 divided by 3 is 10. 30 divided by 5 equals 6. And then, swapping those numbers around, 30 divided by 15 is 2. 30 divided into 10 equal groups would be 3. 30 divided by 6 is 5. And then our 2 other ones, remember we could share 30 just into 1 group, and there'd be 30 altogether in that group. Or we could share 30 into 30 groups, and there'd be 1 in each group. Well done if you managed to get lots of those. Just before we finish, I've got a bit of a puzzling question for you here. So here, I've got 15 divided by something, 15 shared into how many equal groups would end up with 3 in each group? Well, we can solve this missing number problem in a similar way to how we did our workings out before. So I'm going to count out my 15 pebbles. And I know for this question that when I divide them, or when I share them into equal groups, I'll have 3 in each group. I don't know how many groups yet. So the way to sort this one out is to think, well, I'm going to end up with 3 in each group. So I just need to put them into a group of 3, and another group of 3, and then another group of 3, and another group of 3, and another group of 3, and that will tell me, I can work out how many groups altogether I have shared them into. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So here we had 15, and we had to share them into 5 equal groups to end up with 3 in each group. 15 divided by 5 equals 3. Now that brings us to the end of today's lesson on sharing. Tomorrow we're going to carry on with some more work on sharing, but we're going to start looking at some larger numbers and sharing tens numbers. So until tomorrow, have a lovely day, and I'll see you again. Cheerio, everybody, and keep up the super practicing of your times tables as well. Okay, bye-bye.